Okay. Bhavatu sahano bhunaktu sah viryam karvavahai tejasvinavadhitam sumadvidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Deva Brahma, Tasmai Shri Vasudeva Sutam Devam Tam Sadhanu Krishnam Bhakti Guru Samasta Jana Kalyani Sadgurum Brahma Vi Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. The seen world is finite. So it can only give you finite results. It can only give you all conditioned. Happiness comes with a wrapper of sorrow. They can never be separated. They are always together. So that is the seen world. So Vedanta says it is mithya. What do you mean mithya? I see Himalayas. Somebody comes with me, he also sees the same Himalayas. Foreigner comes, he also sees the same Himalayas. How do you say it's mithya? Few years back, many of you went to Uttarkashi. Now you go also, it is there. How do you say it's mithya? Everybody sees the same Himalayas. It is there. How do you say it's mithya? The answer given by the Vedantins, mithya does not mean total non-existence. Mithya means what you see and what you think, what you see is real, has an intrinsic reality behind it. Like the waves and the bubbles. Water is the intrinsic reality. All of us see the waves. All of us see the bubbles. But no sensible man will think that he can do something with them because he knows they don't exist next minute. What was not there before, what shall not be there after some time, what only appeared is called mithya. Wherever there is mithya, it is only nitya, not seen. Mithya is only nitya, not seen. So therefore, Vedanta says, use the mithya, but Understand you are that Nitya and hold on to that. Enjoy the status of Nitya, immortality, bliss. Go through the varieties because you need varieties of the Mithya, which is the film which is very interesting without a villain, challenges. If there is a film, novel, which has to be interesting, there has to be villains and challenges. So also your life. But today, not knowing that it's all a play of you, created by you, mono acting, you get caught into that and suffer like the dreamer suffering. So they say, wake up, understand your real being. Understand your real being. This is what Vedanta says. But a man who has lot of value, dependence for the world outside, right? Before he sleeps, he needs to have something. Some people take a vayapadam, some people take some, essence of grapes in a different form, right? But something you need to have. And if it's not there, life is poetry. Our Nitya, we are talking, about Nitya. We went to trips. All she booked only 5-star hotels. But first thing she will ask is, Tair irka, curd. These Brahmins, right? Majority Brahmins தான் இங்க அடிக்க போறாங்க. மெஜாரிட்டி அடிக்கிட்டோம். நான் கடவுள்கிட்டே சொல்றேன், நீ என்ன கிரஷ் பண்ணு, அப்பதான் இந்த ஈகோ போகும் அப்படின்னு. என்ன என்னுடைய பிரேயர் வெரி ஸ்ட்ரேஞ்ச். யூ கிரஷ் மீ, அப்பதான் இந்த ஈகோ போகும். லைக் குந்தி. லைக் குந்தி. யா. ஸோ கேர்டு இல்லைன்னா 5-ஸ்டார் ஹோட்டலுக்கு வருவாங்க. இந்த ரோட்டரி மீட்டிங் அது இது அவன் எவ்வளோ வெரைட்டி பண்ணி வச்சிருப்பான். அப்புறம் என்னடான்னு கேட்டா, எப்படி இருந்த சாப்பாடுன்னா, என்ன சாப்பிடவே இல்லை, சாப்பாடே இல்லை அப்படின்னு. என்னன்னா கேர்ட் ரைஸ் இல்லை, தயிர் சாதம் இல்லை, ரைட்? So he proves he is a Brahmin. You are a Baniya. Right? So therefore, people who are dependent on such things, before he opens his eyes, coffee should be there. Bed coffee, they call it. Right? Bed coffee, they call it. ஏன்னா அந்த நைட் அந்த இதெல்லாம் இதாயிருக்குல்ல, அதோட அந்த காஃபி சாப்பிட்டா தான் டேஸ்டியா இருக்கு உங்களுக்கு, அந்த மவுத்தோட, ரைட்? ஸோ எழுந்ததே பெட் காஃபி வேணும், அதுக்கப்புறம் நியூஸ் பேப்பர் வேணும், English. After that, he needs a newspaper. After that, no, before all that, madhye madhye paniyam samarpayami. He needs to see the WhatsApp, even if he gets in the night for the bathroom. Right? He needs to see the WhatsApp. Night 2 o'clock, he will go to the bathroom. No, I'm honorably telling, it's my own autobiography. Right? He must see this thing. So morning, he must see all those things, and certain things he flags off, certain things he deletes, right? Newspaper. Then the main thing, because every grihastha has been advised, Agnihotra. Right? Agnihotram. After that, slowly, 2-3 phone பேசி, you have to talk 2-3 telephone calls, gossips. After that, by the time he got up at 7:30, this is 9:30. He goes to bathroom, right? Takes a quick shower. Then Sami get up. I seen these people. Right? I've seen that. This is the life. How many dependencies? How many dependencies? And this man, you say this all mithya. He will say your Vedanta itself is mithya. And you cannot say no. And you cannot say no. So, you have to gradually take them. Life is beautiful, sir. Before you sleep, take some fruit or fruit juice. Right? When you get up, enjoy a good South Indian degree coffee. You have to tell him all that he does is good. Right? And then slowly tell him, sir, what happened, sir? You were caught in a place after some days where you don't get coffee. You don't get South Indian coffee. Oh, your life is miserable. Sir, what happens if you get sugar? Sweet man. Right? What happens? Like that, sir, your lung is infected. You cannot do Agnihotram. What happens? And sir, all this will happen at least 80. At least 80. And today people are living up to 103. Next 23 years, how will you lead your life? Even then, appa paathukalam. Even then, appa paathukalam. Suddenly business collapsed, share market collapsed. Share market collapsed. All banks notice. Banks notice, they don't give you. If you default in a bank today, because she comes from a founder of a bank's family, Gopal Iyer of Indian Bank, very famous. She is the daughter-in-law. Very famous in those days, Indian Bank Gopal Iyer. Granddaughter-in-law. அப்ப தெரிஞ்சிருந்தா பணம் வாங்கிக்கலாம். Right? Collapsed. Banks don't tell you today, yes, pending, you are defaulted, you pay the interest. Today, if you default, it's called fraud. Bank fraud. You understand? So immediately criminal complaint, police also will come, because then only you will pay. Civil case, 40 years, who will pay? Because I know I won't be there. Who will pay? So they convert every civil case into criminal case. That comes, right? And they divorce in the family. Then small accident, COVID, all come at a time. Then if you talk with Gita, at least something you will listen. But the moment these start receding, Gita also goes off to your corner. Right? It also goes off. So to these people, suddenly you talk Vedanta, all mithya, it means nothing for them. Right? So therefore, from the known to the unknown, you have to encourage them, whatever they are doing. Joshiyet sarvani karmani vidwan yukta samacharan. Joshiyet na buddhi vedam janayet ajnana karma sangina. Joshayet sarva karmani vidwan yuktaha sam acharan. Right? அப்படின்னு இருக்கு. So you have to take them from known. Only slowly divert their mind. You are doing this smoking. No, it affects your health. You can't enjoy. So why don't you try to reduce it? Why don't you try to give it up? You will enjoy a better quality of life. These words they like. Today all words are jargons. Doctors have their jargons, management have their jargons. Life is built on jargons. Quality of life. Right? That they like it. Slowly substitute their habits with positive things. Substitute their habits with positive things. Then they'll definitely positive things has an element of peace and happiness. Anything positive. They taste it. So gradually they go slowly. Right? After 7-8 years. Sir, today I'll also come to Gita class, sir. Right? And the day he comes, don't sit in meditation and say, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahma Ivanapar. Cutter one or two jokes. He should be available to you. He should be available to you. Right? We had a friend in Rotary. His father, he didn't do the mistake of going to Gita class. But of course, twice I went to teach Gita, not for him, his daughter. 2 sessions in the house. But his father went to one of the talks of Gurudev doing 10th chapter in MUC grounds because their office was near the MUC grounds. And the father also got only one thing. This man heard that whenever he sees me for 30 years, Gita, he will only talk about that. I am the kick in the whiskey. 10th chapter. I am the kick in the whiskey. When told to Swamiji, he said, it is risky to talk Gita to those people. So then they will, oh, this man is our man, right? Slowly they will come to listen. So therefore, all the worldly things are praised through rituals because you get a better quality enjoyment. Ordinarily, what you get is rubbish. When you do rituals, you will get better stuff, and especially you do meditation, you can enjoy, heavenly joys, Urvasi, Menaka, Rambha, all that will be at your disposal. Right? So he gets attracted. As gradually he listens to something, he finds there are people here who doesn't do anything what I do, but they are more happier than me. Gradually he starts thinking, contemplation, rituals plus upasana plus contemplation. Slowly he improves. That's called Krama Mukti. It's called Krama Mukti. So that was done most of the places in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, not to encourage all those things, to slowly take you and make you realize all foolishness. You are getting bound by one more thing, leaving the previous thing. Whether you leave or you do not know. Many people stop smoking and take to pan. After some time, they have both smoking and pan. Right? So you do not know. Anyway, so the whole exercise of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad was to make you realize there is, Swamiji said, somebody gave me a good cup of coffee in San Diego. Enjoyed. Who says there is no joy in coffee? 1 minute passed. Only thing is, it is finite. Only thing is, it's finite. Right? So, Brihadaranyaka adopts the technique of encouraging and trying to tell you all that you can get out of the upasanas and all that. Finally, it says it's all useless and gives you a lot of examples. And in that, straight you cannot come to that. Upasanas. Upasana is from individuality to totality. You know the senses. Senses. The various devas. Sun in the eye. Space in the ear. Fire on the mouth. Moon on the head. Lunatic. Right? So the various things, they were all proud. I have seen this, I have seen that, I have heard this, I have heard that. Did you hear? Very proud. Keno Upanishad also, that same story comes. After time, sometime they all become weak. Naturally. Naturally. They all become weak. And he cannot see properly, he cannot hear properly. You have to go to specs, you have to go to hearing aid, right? And dentist, right? After some time, all this will come. So at that time, fear comes to them, life. One by one is going on. What will happen to me? Fear. At that time, somebody tells them, divert your mind towards God, totality, prana. All the senses are dependent on prana. Now, independently, they think they are doing everything. Once they recognize the central force that is supporting them, that's activating them and tuned to them, that's called upasana. Hiranyagarbha. Meditation. So, this is better than all those things. They're all mithya. This is satyam. Because at that time they were recommended to turn to that. Why that is satyam? Yes, you have seen it gone. Eyes you have seen gone. Ears you have heard gone. But prana is still there. So it is satyam. Right? Once he's come to that and he has problem in breathing, then they say this is satyam, but there is another satyam beyond this, satyasya satyam. Satyasya satyam. And that is Atma. And that Atma, if you know, you go beyond not only these seen things, heard things, tasted things, and the prana on which these depended. You go even beyond them. You are free from all disease. You become immortal. You become blissful. And you alone are real. You are not even satyam like the prana. You are satyasya satyam. You are satyasya satyam. To bring you to that, topic, he has done 6 brahmanas in the first chapter, up to now 3 brahmanas in the second chapter, the 4th brahmana, 10 things to convince you all these belong to the finite, ignorant world. Knowledge alone can save you. Knowledge of what? Yourself. Because you are that beyond all these. You are beyond repair. Right? So, you know yourself. You know yourself. Atma Vidya. Therefore, it said, Atma eva upasitavyam. You should do the upasana. I am Atma, I am Atma, I am Atma. Aham Brahmasmi iti. I am this Brahman. Aham Sarvam. I am all. Should do upasana. Right? And then he will go on. Before that, 2 and 3, I didn't touch much. 2, 1, showing the consciousness. He has shown the consciousness as from which everything arises when he wakes up. Everything exists. And when he sleeps, everything merges. You know, Slokama, Taittiriya Upanishad. Yato vayamani bhutani jayanti yena jatani jivanti yat prayanti abhivishanti iti. Takkan varno idella. Class educative. Right? From which everything rises and which everything stays, into which everything goes. That is yourself. The world full of problems. Right? Rises from your own mind. Mind is not there, world was not there. Exists in your mind. Because when you divert your mind somewhere else, they don't exist. And when the mind goes to sleep, that also goes to all belongs to the mind. And from this mind alone, everything comes. But mind itself arises from that. Mind itself arises from that. And that is you. That is the subject. That is the same subject in me. That is the same subject in him. This subject is one, indivisible, not changing, infinite, blissful. Everything else is an object. Everything else is an object. Objects are always many. Subject is one. Objects are changing. Subject doesn't change. Right? So, he has brought you to make you understand that you should turn to totality, prana, and from there, you should see everything now as Brahman, that which appears to you physically is felt subtly, gross and the subtle, because all your mind has to completely accept the logic. So you have to analyze all the seen world. You have to analyze the entire seen world, gross, what you eat and enjoy, subtle things, thoughts and all that. All that are expressions of your own self. As expressions, they are finite, they are limited, and they are relative. So you, the origin of all of them, the substratum of all of them, the resort of all of them, has all of them in you. This should be known. Right? So this prana is the intermediary stage, Hiranyagarbha Upasana. So that prana, now he has to make you understand that prana is also limited. That prana is also limited. Why? It has parts. It has parts because it's also made up of the 5 elements. Akasha, Vayu, fire. So Vayu is also an element. Not merely an element, pure element. It is just it's just a modification of Akasha, modifying itself into fire. Right? It's an element subject to change and still not independent. Na pranena, na apanena, jivati matyaha, kaschana, itarena tu jivati, yena, yetau upasritau, on which these two depend. Prana and apana depend. Right? So he has to now take you away from prana. Originally, prana was the bait. Now, once you are settled there, he has to take you away from that. And to that, he has to give you the logic. It's not also infinite because it has parts, number 1. Number 2, it's dependent on consciousness. It has parts. It's a combination of elements dependent on consciousness. So for that he gives an example. It's like a cough. C-A-L-V, a cough, right? It's like a cough. Why? Cough has several things attached to that. It's fresh, no doubt, right? It's fresh. It's not that old. Relatively, compared to many things, prana is fresh and it's not old. And it has a peg to which it is tied. There is a rope, something put on the nose. Several parts are there for the cough. This is like a cough. This is like a cough, prana. It's dependent on the master. Who ties it up? The master ties it up. To the peg, the ego. So many things you can imagine, right? Whatever you imagine is right. Because like Bhagavan, he can be Maraprabhu, he can be Amaraprabhu. Right? Whatever you imagine is right. Because both are anyway imaginations. Nobody can be absolutely right. Right? So it's like a cough. That is 2. He gave the example of a cough. In the book. I'm gone beyond the book. ஏம்மா இல்ல அது தேர்ட். இது வந்து காஃப். அதுக்கு நடுப்புல between 1 and 3. 2 முடிச்சாச்சு. Right? முடிச்சாச்சு. There's nothing much there. So now we come to 2, 3. Murtam and Amurtam. Right? Murtam and Amurtam. Why? If before he goes to something what you do not know, the known has to be explained. Because you say that is Nirguna. Brahman is the ultimate reality. Brahman is Nirguna, right? It cannot be seen. It cannot be heard, right? And that you should meditate. How can you meditate on something which cannot be seen, which cannot be heard, which cannot be smelled, and I have to meditate. And mind cannot reach there. Yen manasana manuti, yen ahurna matam, tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. Right? How do I meditate on that? Right? So in Rotary, somebody brought to speak. As he was speaking, somebody sitting there was searching for a gun in this thing. This man got frightened, the man who was speaking. Sir, did I offend you by anything? No, you don't worry, you speak. I am seeing for the man who brought you here. Similarly, when you talk like this, meditate on Brahman. Right? You can't see him, you can't hear him, you cannot think about him, meditate on him. He will see for the man who brought him there. right? And Kausi was brought by Lalita. Right? So therefore, you have to first explain what all he knows, what are the limitations of them, and how you can know the other thing beyond these. What is the relationship between them? What we know is things seen, things felt. Seen or gross, felt or subtle. Three elements, earth, fire, and water, are called gross elements. Vayu and space are called subtle elements. Gross elements that are manifest are called sat. The subtle elements that are not manifest, not perceivable, are called asat. Right? So this has to be explained to you. This is sat, this is asat. Right? And now you have to be told, if there are two things like sat and like asat, they should stand on something. Otherwise, one only is there, you can say that alone is there. But second is there. So what connects them? What supports them? If only one, you can say that alone is there. That alone is there, I do not know. Now you say gross and subtle. So both should be there, supported by something. Both should have originated from something. And then you both have originated from something that cannot be different from this thing, that thing. Right? So murtam, things that are seen, gross elements, subtle elements, amurtam. He explains only to dismiss finally. Throughout Brihadaranyaka, that is the style. Murtam, amurtam. At two levels. Adidaivika, murtam, sun. Amurtam, the essence in the sun. Murtam, the three elements outside. Essence of the three elements, gross elements is sun. And subtle elements outside are the Daivika. The essence of those two subtle things is the essence in the being. It's called being in the sun. Hiranyagarbha. Similarly, Adi Bhautika. We are all made of the five elements. The three elements we know. The essence of them is the I. Subtle elements, the essence of them is the being in the I. The being in the I. Right? And he says, all these are relative. All these are relative. There is a being that supports all of them. Right? So now, what is the purpose of his telling the gross and the subtle? What is gross? First of all, he explains what is gross. Gross is limited. Gross is mortal. Gross is defined. Subtle is the opposite of it is, right? Immortal, unlimited, and undefined. Right? There's some technical names for that. Murtam, amurtam. Murtam, gross. Martyam, mortal. Stitam, right? Stitam, No. Stitam limited. Stitam limited. Sat defined. Sat defined. Amurtam, Amrutam, Yat unlimited, Tyat undefined. Right? Sat, Tyat. Stitam, Yat. Martyam, Amrutam. Right?
Which sloka is this?
நம் 2:1 மொத்தமே ஒவ்வொன்றா எடுத்து நான் சம்மரைஸ் பண்ணி சொல்லிட்டேன். சரி, உங்களை படிக்கணுமா படிச்சுடுறேன். द्वे वा ब्रह्मणो रूपे, 2 forms of Brahman, मूर्तम अमृतम च, right? मूर्तम मर्त्यम च अमृतम च, स्थितम च त्यच्च यच्च सच्च त्यच्च. Sadhana. Then he takes one by one. Right? Tadedam murtam yad anyat vayuhu antarishchacha. What is murtam other than the two? Subtle. Vayu and antariksham. That means the three. What is its essence? Surya. We don't have to go into all that. You can read at home. I have said everything. When you read anything there, you will read them and understand them with the same confusions which I created. Right? And now, why is this said like this? To explain Brahman. Why don't you explain Brahman directly? Why do you have to say it's Murtam? It has 2 forms, Murtam and Amrutam. It's beyond them. How will I understand? That's how you will understand. You are a combination of Murtam and Amurtam, and I said it is beyond that. See, in you, is there something beyond the Murtam and the Amurtam? Yes, I see the Murtam, I see the Amurtam, and therefore I am different from them. I see the Murtam in me, I see the Amurtam in me, therefore I am different from them. Now what I should do? Whenever any trouble comes, anything comes, neti, 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 and reach the Brahman. This Nyaya is called Anvaya Vitireka. Anvaya Vitireka. So what is the name of that Brahman? Satyasya Satyam, neti, neti is the name. And that's called Upanishad. Name of Brahman is called Upanishad. Why? That is the actual name of Upanishad. Upa Samipye Ni Nischayena Shad Gati Visarana. That which takes you there is not this Upanishad book, is Brahman, is Atman. So real Brahman and Atman is the Upanishad. And that is Neti Neti Satyasya Satyam. So Murtam and Amurtam I have to bring in to make you understand that which is Murtam in you, that which is Amurtam in you, that which is not both, and that which supports them. I have to tell you what is Murtam, what is Amurtam, what is not Murtam and Amurtam and yet supports them, and where Murtam and Amurtam spring forth. Brahman. Murtam and Amurtam are products of ignorance, and therefore finite. That Satyam itself is not Satyam. Because that is why they get confused. They say, Sadeva idamagra asit. In the beginning of creation, there was only Sat. And they get confused. Therefore, they say in another place, Asadeva idamagra asit. Because they do not know the difference. Because what you say Sat is really Asat. Right? So therefore, this is beyond Sat, beyond Asat, beyond gross, beyond subtle, beyond Rutam, beyond Amrutam. How will I know? By which you know Mrutam, by which you know Amrutam, by which you know gross, by which you know subtle. That which alone remains when both Murtam and Amurtam are not there in you or become unmanifest. Right? So that is you. And that is Upanishad. The name of the Brahman. That is the Namadheyam. It says there. It is Namadheyam. And it can be known by known and Neti Neti through renunciation and through renunciation. அது வரும் அடுத்த இதில் immediately he is taking that sannyasa and knowledge. That can be realized by renouncing and knowledge. What renouncing? What all it is not. Why should I know what all it is not? That is what is giving you problems. All your problems belong to what you are not. You are unnecessarily interfering with everybody's problem. You are meddling with everybody's problem. You are meddling with everybody's problem. Throw them off or use them. Either throw them off or use them. Do not be cowed down by them. Do not be cowed down by them.
So the same Murtam Amurtam is Shara Purusha and that Purushottam.
Shara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, right? Shara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, and then in the 7th chapter, Aparam, Param. All are the same. He has been talking only that. Summa different packets he gives, and you think Brihadaranyaka is such a big thing. What nothing there. He's talking the same thing. Yeah? Yeah. You read anything, it will be the same. Right? And now this Brahman has to be known. Because Murtam and Amurtam give you sorrow. Give you sorrow. You have to go beyond them. Murtam and Amurtam belong to the ignorance. Murtam and Amurtam belong to the ignorance. Antidote for ignorance is knowledge. So, one can know this Atman, the Brahman, that he is only through knowledge. That is the purpose of all Vedanta. Jnanena tu kaivalyam. And I have to arrive at that. And you are not available. So I had to do all the drama and gossip till you come to this. Now I take up Atma. Huh? So now he comes to the real knowledge part of it, right? He said up to know what all is not real. Now he is going to talk about what is real. So he starts with a story. He starts with a story. What is the story? No time, good time.
10 minutes.
No, time. I can finish. Right? Okay. So the story is Yajnavalkya had 2 wives. In those days, if somebody has to be important person, a VIP, the minimum qualification is he should have minimum 2 wives. The more you have, the more godly you can be. Krishna had 16,008 because he is the Purna avatar. He is the Purna avatar. Why so many wives Purna avatar? If he can manage them, he has to be God. He has to be God. Right? Narada comes to see, inspect. How is this man living with 16,000 people? He comes to inspect and he sees and he says, you are God only. You are God only. So this Yajnavalkya had two wives, Katyayani and Maitreyi. Right? Yajnavalkya decides enough is enough. Enough is enough. Now, even if I don't give, they will grab all my assets because I'm old. I cannot do anything. I can't even go to court without their help. So they will grab everything and throw me into garbage. Before that, I better leave all of them, go to Himalayas, Rishikesh, somebody will give food. Kali Kambliwala has food. Somebody will take care if you are on the road. In Chennai, you cannot do anything. Old age home, you want to go, Satish, you contact 40,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees. Right? So go to Himalayas. So this man decided, called Katyayani Maitreyi and said, I have decided to leave you both. He says the same words, leave you both and go to Vanaprastha. I am dividing my properties between both of you. Katyayani said, good riddance, bad rubbish. She immediately said, lovely, you have taken the first time right decision. Right? Because she is pulled towards the prayers. Maitreyi said, that's beautiful. You are going is okay. But husband's duty is to see that the wives are settled before you go. You have to see that we are settled. Right? So by all that you give, can I get immortality? He says, no chance. Then what is the point in your giving that and going? Give that and go. Give that and go. Then he starts the Upanishad. It is a very famous portion of Brihadaranyaka quoted by all. But what is quoted is the same thing what is in the text. You don't love your wife for the sake of your wife. You love the wife because of the self, yourself. You don't love the husband because of the husband. You love the husband because of... This is all said. But there is much more than that in this. So, do not wait to listen to what you already know. Wait to listen to the subtle points in this. Right? And what are all those subtle points? First of all, it is said there, Atma is all, Sarvam. And Atma eva upasita. And Aham Brahmasmiti. Atma eva upasita, that's called Vidya Sutram. Aham Brahmasmi is Mahavakya. Knowing Atman, you know everything. And everything, if without knowing Atman, is only partial security and enjoyment. They're all parts. When you know Atman, all that is clubbed in that. All that is clubbed in that. Right? Vasat sadhu. Right? And the ananda he gets, who is a yuva, sadhu, asisto drudisto balistaha, tasya iyam prithvi vritta purna syat, sa eka manushya anandaha. That is one unit of
human.
human happiness. Right? This, the man who leaves everything has already got. Srotriyasya, akamahatasya is there. Then 100 times more than that is Manushya Gandharva Namananda. The man who is Srotriya and Akamahata, the man who is learned in the scriptures and know, he says, he got it. He goes on developing and computer cannot work. I asked one day to Kavita to do the numbers. She put 2 by 20 ciphers. No computer can show that digit. 2 in 2 followed by 20 digits. Still it is finite. He only did it only to make you understand how big it is. How big it is. So, it's all Martyam, no point. So he says, and is put in little even in simple language in Kaivalya. Na dhanena, na prajaya, na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena, tyagena, ekena. You don't get by karma, you don't get by praja, you don't get by dhana. How will I get it? Renounce karma, renounce praja, renounce dhana. Right? Tyagena ekena amrutatva manashutu. You can enjoy only by leaving all that. Right? So they used to introduce, he's happily married. And I said it's a oxymoron. It's an oxymoron. Happily married. Right? Either one is happy or married. Right? So, Maitreyi, he calls and says, Maitreyi, come here. Oh, vacha, Yagnavalkya. He said, Yagnavalkya, Udyasyanva, Are, Aham, Asmat, Tanat, Asmi. I am getting out of this place. Right? I am renouncing my life. Hanta te anaya katyayanya anta paravaniti. I am now going to cut off both your relationships. Huh?
English it says, allow me to finish.
Finish. I want to be finished with you. Because that's the word used, anta, right? But what he meant is cut off my relationship with you, right? He and anta is antava. Illa, agadu. Ha plus anta. Ha plus anta is அப்ப கூட ஹாந்தா ஆகும். Indeed, it is the end. அதுக்கு தான் நான் struggle பண்றேன். Right? Anta. Right? Sahovacha Maitreyi. Maitreyi said, beautiful dialogues, please listen. But before I go to that, let me just tell you what is this Atman all about. Because when I go to that, I may miss that. Why you should know this Atman. Finite cannot give infinite, that you know that. And Atman is the source of all your bliss. You take coffee. If coffee gives happiness, it should give same to all. Right? It doesn't. To me also, different moods, different things. Even to me, it doesn't. And to all, it doesn't. But still, I feel coffee, heaven. Gurudev gave the beautiful cue. Coffee doesn't give you heaven. It creates an environment in you where all your agitations and thoughts subside. You feel for a split second the Atman, whose nature is bliss, and you feel you got that happiness from the coffee. Agitation, coffee. Too many agitations. Coffee is given those agitations have subsided. For a split second, your mind is calm, you are happy. And now what happened? You got used to this. Coffee I take, I'm happy. Coffee I take, I'm happy. So mind plays the trick. Every time you create the agitation, and the agitation is dropped, and you feel you are happy. Same thing with nature, seeing nature. It all, Gurudev gave this beautiful cue, creates an environment in you where you withdraw from so many things and be with yourself, even nature. Right? So therefore, that is the source of all happiness. That is alone happiness, not even the source. Not even the source. That alone is happiness. Right? So, ignorance of Atman, what happens? It says that words, it comes for paradadyo. Those people will reject you. A Brahmin will reject you if you think that Brahmin is different from Atman. Kshatriya will reject you if you think Kshatriya is different from Atman. Right? Everybody will reject you if you think everything is different from Atman. How? No Brahmin rejects me when I think I am different from Atman. In fact, they stand on that, Visishta Dvaita. They say you are different. Madhvas. Why Visishta Dvaita? At least part. Madhvas. They don't reject you. No. They do reject you because when you say you are different from God, you have an individuality. Everybody has a protection against every individual. Even husband and wife. It may be very thin, but there is a protection. Wall. Psychological wall. Because you are different, I am different, my security is different, your security is different. There is a wall, right? So when you think you are different from Brahman, the husband rejects the wife, Brahmin rejects the Brahmin, Kshatriya rejects the Kshatriya, because you yourself are created, right? A man who sees everything as this thing, nobody can reject him because he rejected all forms. He has rejected all forms. Right? And in all particularities that you are attached, forms, different colors, different sounds, different musics, the essential thing is that consciousness. All the joy comes out of that. All the beauty comes out of that. Right? Everything comes out of that. So therefore, all particularities are expressions of this one common factor. That is going to give lovely examples here. You know, the various sounds of the drum when beaten. A man who doesn't know they're all the sounds of the drum cannot enjoy that. Whatever varieties he enjoys, but he should know that they are all of the drum. Right? So, this ends all particularities and they make you enjoy all particularities, knowing that it's all Brahman, make you free from dependence on them. This is what I said, subtle things, notice. Do not go by what you already know. Right? And all the particularities merge in the self. All emanate from it, all stay in it, nothing other than it. Running after part manifestations will be lost. Running after this, running after that, you will be lost. Stop running. You find that in you. Alchemist by Paul Scott book. He went on running after this, running after that, wealth and all that, or a guru and all that. And then finally he was told, whatever you are running after is in you. You are standing on that. The wealth itself is standing on that. Right? Stop running, you get it. Start running, it awaits you. Right? There the lady started running in the beginning creation. Shatarupa, Manu. Right? So this is why you should know Atman. Because it was said earlier also, now even before he comes here, that this Atma is dearer than the sun. Tadetat preya putram preyo vittat, dearer than all of them. Therefore, you should know. Tad atmanameva aveta, avet, you should know that Atman. Aham Brahma asmi iti, you should know that Atman to be yourself. Tasmat sarvam abhavat. Right? So all that is said, and therefore you have to know the Atman. And he who thinks he is different, I am different. Saha anyaha aham anyaha. He is one, I am another, does not know the truth. Does not know the truth. Right? Okay. So now Maitreyi said, and Maitreyi beautifully asked the question. Sa hovacha Maitreyi yennu mayam bhagoho sarva prithvi vittena purna syat katham tena amritam syamiti. Sir, this entire world is filled with all the wealth. Will I become complete with that? Will I become immortal by that? Tena amritam. Will I become immortal by that? Na iti. He said no. Hovacha yajnavalkyaha yatha eva upakarana jivata tataiva te jivati syat. Just like all people buy all things with this money and live their life, you will also be one amongst them. Now, right? All of us are living for what? Paying electricity bill, paying EMIs, right? Thinking that they will all give me happiness. Upakaranas. You are earning only for them. You are earning for them. You understand? There is no happiness in them. I know several people, they are worth 60,000, 70,000 crores, can't have an AC, allergy. They have to suffer the sweat and all that allergy. I know some people who have thousands of acres of sugarcane, they can't take one spoon of sugar. You understand? So that is the nature of this world. So he said, Tena na iti hovacha yajnavalkyaha yata eva upakaranatam. Through the instruments they live, you also live through that. 1 car, 2 car, 3 car, atakar, swandakar, bandakar, antakar, mamakar. Right? One house in Ananagar, one house in Horagadam. Jivitam syat amritatvasya tu na asha asti vittena. Forget about their giving anything. You don't even have a hope. Na asha asti vittena. Then she said, Sa hovacha Maitreyi yena aham amritasyam kimahatena kuryan. By which I do not become immortal. What will I do with that? Tavaiva tavan nrutyagite. Tavaivaha tavan nrutyagite. Tadeva Bhagavan Veda Tadeva me bruhit. What you know about that immortality, knowing which you want to leave us, that you give it to us and go. That you give it to us and go. This is how we don't mind you are going. In fact, we welcome. Right? But you give us all the secret numbers of your bank accounts and all that, and you kept all that for yourself and gave your savings bank account only. Huh?
Swiss bank account.
Huh?
Switzerland
Swiss bank. Oh, 810. Sorry. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamadam Purnat Purnamadachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. Right.
As we pray, you are praying and you are praying and you should not look at the clock.
Huh? Yeah. Huh.
She didn't want class to end, uncle.
So what to do? 810 people will be restless. They have several appointments.